Our reflection for today is going to be found in Luke chapter 22, starting at the first verse. Now the festival of unleavened bread called the Passover was approaching, and the chief priests and the teachers of the law were looking for some way to get rid of Jesus, for they were afraid of the people. Then Satan entered Judas, called Iscariot, one of the 12. And Judas went to the chief priest and the officers of the temple guard and discussed with them how he might betray Jesus. They were delighted and agreed to give him money. He consented and watched for an opportunity to hand Jesus over to them when no one was present. Today's reflection is going to be centered on this thought and idea, am I being transformed? It was on a Wednesday where Judas had conspired to betray Jesus, and he committed this agreement, or got into an agreement to accept some money, and he was going to work and find a way to betray Jesus. Judas was one of the 12 disciples, which means that he had been with Jesus from the start of his ministry. He had been exposed to Jesus' teachings. He was exposed to the works of Jesus and the miracles that Jesus performed. And he also was around to see people actually being transformed and impacted by Jesus' ministry. Judas had enough evidence to see that Jesus was the real deal, that he was who he said he was, that the enemies who were trying to set Jesus up, that they had it wrong. He had enough evidence to see and make a choice as to, was he the real deal? What we see here is that while Judas was one of the 12 and he was around Jesus, that just because he was around him doesn't mean that his life was being transformed by him. And it gets us to thinking that just because we are around Jesus doesn't mean that our lives are actually being transformed by him. That we too could be around him, and it's possible to hear his teachings. It's possible for us to see his works, and it's possible for us to see other people impacted by Jesus, but we ourselves not actually be transformed. You know, it reminds me of another passage, another time that's found in John chapter 10, where the Jews are asking Jesus, tell us if you're the Messiah. And he responds in verse 25. He says, I did tell you, but you do not believe. The works I do in my Father's name testify about me. But you do not believe because you are not my sheep. My sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me. You see, Jesus explained to the disciples as they were asking him, are you the Messiah? He said, I'm telling you who I am, but you don't believe me. He even goes on to say that the works that I do, they testify about me. So you may not believe my words, but look at my works. If you don't believe what I'm saying, that's one thing, but look at the works that I'm doing. They actually testify about who I am. But he concludes, he says, you don't believe because you're not my sheep. My sheep listen to my voice. As we reflect today, I want to encourage you to search every area of your life to ensure that we are listening to the voice of God. So much so that our lives are actually being transformed, that our worldview is being transformed based on our relationship with Jesus, that our finances are being transformed because of our relationship with Jesus, that how we engage in friendships and relationships and how we handle our families, how we care for people, how we pursue our careers and our purpose, that it all comes from a place where we are being shaped and molded as a result of our relationship with Jesus. Because what we see here is that it's possible for us to be around him, but not necessarily be converted by him. Let's use this time now to make sure that we are being deeply transformed by our relationship with Christ. Have a blessed day, family.